out of all, and I mean all, of the habits that I have built over the past couple of years, if I could only give you five, five habits that completely changed my life forever, this is what these five would be. What's up, everybody? Coach G, and we are live in the Jeep studio today with this one. If you find that this message brings you any sort of value, it would be awesome for you to leave a like, a comment, and share. That way, the algorithm pushes this out to individuals that need to hear this message. So with that short introduction out of the way, let's actually get into it. So in no particular order, here we go. These are the five habits that completely transformed my life forever, and you're going to want to stick around to hear the last one because it is the best one. So the first thing that has completely transformed my life forever, these five habits, right? The first one, and I think it goes without being said, you've probably already guessed it, but the first one would be fitness, and here's why. I learned from Tony Robbins that if you want to change your mind state, you change your physical state. So what does that mean? Well, that means the longer we sit literally and stew over something that we probably don't have any control over anyways, well, that energy that you could take in worry and doubt, well, you could apply it to physically moving. And that could be going to the gym, that could be going for a walk, that could be meditating, that could be doing yoga, that could be going for a run. There are so many different things you can do to move your body and be physically fit. And I've also noticed when I started taking care of my body more and I became more in shape, well, I started feeling better about myself too. Because if we look good, we feel good. Ever noticed how women take their time getting really dressed up for their dates, or they get really dressed up to go to work, or whatever the event might be? Well, they look good, and because they look good, whatever they're doing, they're gonna have a great time. And you always hear the girlfriend saying, girl, and yeah, of course, gas your friends up. But I don't think it's a coincidence that when we look better, we feel better. That would be the first one. The second habit that completely transformed my life forever, might not believe it, but reading. Yes. Picking up a fucking book, not flipping through the pages, but actually reading, comprehending what's on the pages, and applying it to life. Here's why. I'm a firm believer that leaders are readers. So the more you learn about whatever it is that, interests you. For me, I was always big on self-improvement and mental health. And why is that? Well, because how I grew up, I wish I knew these tools on how to cope with the amount of stress and anxiety that I was overwhelmed with every single day. And that stress and anxiety came from a spot where I didn't have control of my environment, and I was a victim of circumstances. And when you tell yourself that's the narrative for your life, well, it's very disempowering, right? You are putting a label on yourself, and at the end of the day, it only exists in our mind anyways. So if we tell ourselves something, then reality has no choice but to go ahead and follow through with it. Isn't it crazy how the mind works? And if I was ever to go back to school, neuroscience would be the thing that I go into. Neuroscience and psychology. But these topics, these things on how the mind works and why our mind works that way has always intrigued me. So let's rewind back for a second. So we know we are what we think we are, right? And because we believe we are the things that we say we are, well, we are going to perform, we are going to act, and we are going to do certain things with those beliefs. Have you ever noticed yourself sabotaging and you don't know why? Have you ever noticed certain patterns or tendencies that you've done and it just seems robotic? And you're not really doing the things that you're doing. It just seems second nature. That's because you have programmed these things in your brain, into your life. Just as easily as you have programmed yourself to do something, you can also program a new habit, a new belief. Crazy, huh? And that's why I enjoyed reading. I would find topics, controversial topics that, you know, a lot of people won't dabble into because mental health is taboo. No one wants to talk about mental health. Just like the saying I'm sure you've heard growing up is kids should be seen and not heard. Do you really believe that? Because I don't. And it was a belief that was given onto us. So when you were a little kid and you were growing up and you were told that kids should be seen and not heard, well, that makes you believe that you shouldn't speak up in school or speak up in life. And it all stemmed from that one ideology of kids are seen and not heard. So when we start reprogramming certain things in our life, these beliefs that aren't congruent with who you are as a person and where you want to go, it is fucking transformational. And I never would have adapted a different mindset if it wasn't for reading books, if it wasn't for learning more. And another awesome thing about reading is the more you read, the more you start to think like these people. And the more you start to think like these people, the more you start to act like these people. And your vocabulary changes and you become a better speaker because you know what to talk about. Put down the fucking phone. Pick up a book. It is one of the best habits that I've ever picked up in my life. And if we were going to list these, right, tier these from 1 to 5, this would definitely be tied for first. Pick up a book. Read. You'll thank me later. Back like we never left. Thirdly, the third habit that completely transformed my life forever is faith. Yeah. Faith. Believing in Christ. Growing up, I went to a Catholic school, and because I felt that these ideologies were forced on me, I never had the chance to have an open mind and honestly explore spirituality myself. And usually when people are forced into things, they end up resenting it. Well, I ended up resenting religion. And throughout life, I continued to face certain trials and tribulations that made me question even more, is God real? Is religion a thing? Why should I have faith in something that I constantly feel that I am being let down? And because I had that belief, life had no other choice but to continue to present me with challenges. And I'm not saying I had the hardest childhood or the hardest life up to this point. I'm sure people are doing worse than I am. And I don't say this to gain pity or to gain clout or to tell you my pain is worse than yours, because no one's racing to the fucking bottom, bro. I'm telling you this for this message, that having faith means that you believe in something bigger than yourself. And when you get to those times in life where you feel your back is up against the wall, where you don't know what you're going to do, when you have to choose between, do I pay the light bill or do I pay the water bill? Do I pay for the speeding ticket or do I pay for the registration? When you start getting put in those situations and you don't know what to believe in anymore, you believe in something bigger than you. See, I never realized this until very recently, reading through the Bible again. This is just a roadmap for life. And sure, maybe it doesn't tell you how to use your iPhone. Maybe it doesn't tell you how to walk up to a girl and ask her out. It might not tell you how to run a business. But on the flip side, it does. You have to be able to read, which is what the other important habit in my life was before this. You have to be able to read, and you have to be able to comprehend the message that is being portrayed to you. How does the saying go? You can lead a horse to water, but you can't force it to drink. I can give you the tools to success, but it's up to you to apply them on your own. Unfortunately, I know there's going to be people that see this video and never even make it to this part. And that's sad to think that you just want people to excel, to succeed, to live the best versions of their life. And it hurts when you see the people you care about most struggling because they just don't want to take that ownership. You're never alone when you have God. Have the faith. Know that you're not walking alone and battling through everything alone in life. Things will get easier. If God even said in the Bible that man should not be alone and gave us Eve. So if he wasn't expecting Adam to do things alone, why should you do things alone? And the short answer is, you shouldn't. We are our brother's keeper. Believe in faith. Have faith. It will be a game changer. So, the fourth habit that when I implemented this into my life, that has completely changed things forever. That is being more intentional about my relationships. And when I say relationships, I don't just mean a significant other. I mean relationships in business, and I mean platonic relationships that you build throughout life. Let's dabble a little deeper into that. So, if we know one of the most important investments you will ever make in your life will be the partner that we choose, don't you want to make fucking sure that you have that dialed in? See, it took a while, but I used to date with a shotgun approach. And what do I mean by that? Well, like a shotgun, when you shoot it, unless you're using slugs, the shotgun shell bursts. Pellets go everywhere. So when you take a very wide approach to dating and you don't know what it is that you exactly want, you just say, hey, fuck it. If she's got a nice ass and a pair of tits, hey, that's good for me. Which, for most dudes, that's what they do. But however long it might be down the road, they are living lives of quiet contempt and resentment. Because anybody out here has a body. Cool. But what is their soul like? What is their character like? Those are things that are built, that don't change. You can always get a better looking body by going to the gym. But your character speaks way more about you as a person than what you look like. So, adopting the mindset of dating for looks versus dating for the actual qualities that you want in a person. See, if technology got to the point where we could go to Build-A-Bear, but instead of Build-A-Bear, we'll call it Build-A-Woman. There might be a little catchier tone to what I could say, but not every woman's a bitch. So, Build-A-Woman. We walk in there. What would your ideal woman look like? What would she sound like? What are the things that she would like to do? And I'm talking about go as detailed as possible, right? And this is what I used to do after every relationship that either I ended or that ended on me. And to those women that end up watching this, you're right. Yeah, I need some work done on myself. Call it as you see it. But you tell yourself, this is what I want in my person. These are the character traits I want. This is definitely what I don't want. And you are very zeroed in on your wants and needs. Well, in life, we get what we focus on. So if you are looking for a partner that has integrity, that is a great communicator, that is in shape, that has a very loving family support system in her life, there are women out there that have those qualities and that come from those backgrounds. It might not be who you particularly want, but how's that been working out for you? The women that you are attracted to. If it was working out for you good, then you wouldn't need any relationship advice because life is great. But that's not the case for most men. See, when you see a guy that has their relationship figured out, definitely bend his ear and ask him what he is doing. That is something I learned very early on, and I'm so fucking glad I did. So you have that aspect of the relationships, right? Who you choose as your partner, which is very, very fucking important. But you also have the sides of platonic and business. So when you build better platonic relationships, you build better friendships. Because when your friends feel heard and understood, they're going to be more willing to talk to you. They're going to be more willing to help you out. And I mean, you're just generally going to have a better time hanging out with these people. I'm sure there are people in your life that every time you see them, it's like they recharge your battery and life feels great. That's not a coincidence, because they listen to you and they want what's best for you. Okay, we're getting somewhere. And then business. Well, how do these relationships apply in business? Well, if you choose your business partners carefully and they align with your character, your morals, your values, you're going to have better business relationships. English, I can sometimes speak it. And when we have better business relationships, we are more in flow with our mission and purpose. And when we go more with flow in life, things come to us easy, effortless, and they're fun. Build better relationships, you will build a better life. That is the fourth habit that I adopted that has changed my life. And without further ado, here's number 5.
Pardon me, I just got done working out. As you can probably tell, the hair is a little different. So the last habit that once I implemented it into my life, completely transformed everything forever. And that was therapy. Let me explain. So when you have a series of trauma that continues to happen to you, and this can be mental trauma, this can be emotional trauma, this can be physical trauma, well, your body holds on to it. And there have been plenty of studies shown as how trauma affects the body. As men, from adolescent, we were taught we weren't supposed to share our emotions, to be emotional, that to be emotional means that you're weak, that you're a little bitch. Men don't cry, so why should you? And the problem with that belief is it forces you to not feel things. See, in order to heal, you need to feel it. And I'm not saying I had the hardest life before the military and in the military and out of the military, but I've been through certain trials and tribulations that have helped shape me to become the man that I am today. And I don't take back any of those memories or any of those challenges I had to overcome, because it, again, made me into the man that I am today. You need to go to therapy. You need to find a way to healthily talk about the things that you've been through. I get not everybody watching this has been overseas, but I guarantee you've seen something that was traumatic. I guarantee you have been through a hard time, or you had a relationship throw you through the ringer and now mentally it's got you fucked. Or maybe, I don't know, maybe you had a buddy that was drinking and driving and died and you never worked through that. All these things are trauma. And if you continue to carry that trauma with you throughout life, you are just sabotaging. And that can be in your relationships, that can be in business, that can be with your job, that could be in your day-to-day interactions. Don't take yourself out of the game because you're too prideful to admit that, hey, something's wrong with me and I need to talk about it. When you work through the issues, you come out being a better man. And when you're a better man, you can provide for not only yourself, but for others. Therapy. Do that shit.